Dear Chairman Keating, Ranking Member Kinzinger, distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you very much for the invitation to speak in front of you today. It is an honor. I will summarize my written testimony for the hearing. In 2014, NATO's military commander Philip Breedlove called the Kremlin's disinformation campaign targeting Ukraine the most amazing information warfare, blitzkrieg we have ever seen in the history of information warfare. 5 years later, it is obvious that the initial blitzkrieg has evolved into a sustained and ongoing disinformation campaign using thousands of channels in dozens of languages, targeting hundreds of millions of people on a daily basis. It is a campaign with the goal to undermine Western democracies, human rights, and rule of law, and to denigrate those who stand for these values, including the United States. The Kremlin's media are tasked to advance Russian military goals, regardless of the current peace war status with a given country. These pseudo-journalists are dutifully fulfilling this task, and they get rewarded by the Kremlin for the more visible Russian military operations like in Ukraine or in Syria. They perceive themselves as being in a permanent information war with the whole Western world. The messages of Russian state media get further amplified by an ecosystem consisting of so-called alternative media, social media, Russian officials and representatives, NGOs, and other less researched communication channels. Often, influencers in European states are repeating the messages of the Kremlin's disinformation ecosystem, giving their messages new legitimacy and spreading it among new audiences. Even in the Netherlands, the country that lost the most citizens in the tragedy of the MH17 flight, where nearly 300 civilians were killed by a Russian weapon, even in the Netherlands you can find politicians repeating the Kremlin's lies about who is to blame. As some of the opinion polls show us, the synergy of Kremlin-controlled and Kremlin-influenced channels is effective. According to one poll, 80% of Bulgarians did not believe that it was Russian secret services who are to blame for the nerve agent attack in Salisbury, England. That is 4 out of 5 people believing a disinformation campaign instead of facts and evidence. After 5 years of sustained information aggression, it unfortunately seems that the European audiences are getting used to a certain level of disinformation campaign, almost perceiving it as a new normal. This fatigue facilitates further disinformation campaigns, including those from new actors, both state and non-state. It is for these reasons why I worry that the Kremlin is currently winning the information war it is conducting against the Western democracies. Mostly because we in the West do not understand that we are in such a war. We do not understand what it has already cost us and what will it cost us in the future. And we have failed to fight back and defend our values against this new kind of aggressor. It does not have to be this way. We in the West have all the knowledge and all the capabilities to win this fight. The only thing we lack is political will and the determination of our adversary. In my written testimony, I have described multiple measures that can be undertaken to defend against this kind of aggression. Out of all the examples, let me highlight here the case of Lithuania. These small nations show us how the combination of documenting this threat, raising the level of awareness about it, mitigating the weaknesses of the information space, and punishing of the information aggressors can result in a successful defense even against an opponent who is many times stronger and has many times more resources. Lithuania has a track record of neutralizing a disinformation campaign even before it has time to spread and influence the audiences, which is the best possible result you can achieve. It is these 4 areas of defense which I perceive as necessary in order to successfully defend against the massive disinformation campaigns that the Kremlin conducts in the past years. What we see in many European countries and in the EU are the first 3 of these areas: documenting the threat, raising awareness, and mitigating the weaknesses. However, it is actually the 4th area, punishing the information aggressors, that might make the biggest difference. The other 3 areas will help us better cope with information aggression, but they will never help to stop it. I am deeply convinced that unless we start punishing the information aggressors in a more resolute way, we will not only fail to stop their aggression, but we will also show to other potential aggressors that we in the West are not capable of dealing with this kind of threat, and we will invite further aggression. And there are other, more powerful actors in the world than Russia. If they start adopting the Kremlin's tactics, as we already see happening in a few cases, we might face a significantly bigger problem in the future. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will be looking forward to your questions.